Imagine waking up one morning and looking up at the sky, expecting the familiar golden sun, and instead seeing a star so massive, so impossibly bright, that it fills the horizon like a second moon. This isn't science fiction anymore. It's Earth orbiting the largest star in the universe, Scuti, magnified, exaggerated, and alive in ways your mind can barely comprehend. At first, it seems surreal, almost beautiful. A crimson giant stretching across the sky, bathing the world in hues of red and orange that burn with the intensity of a million suns. But the beauty is a trap, because the planet we call home was never meant to orbit a star like this. The first signs are subtle. Nights vanish completely. Darkness no longer exists. The constant crimson glow turns every shadow into a nightmare, every horizon into fire. Temperatures begin to spike gradually at first, and humanity celebrates the endless daylight, crop growth, solar energy, limitless warmth. But then, the heat becomes relentless. Oceans shimmer unnaturally, their surfaces boiling under the star's gravity-driven pull. Rivers evaporate in hours. The very air begins to warp, heavy with superheated water vapor, carrying storms that are no longer predictable. This is the difference between life as we knew it and survival as a desperate experiment. The tides, once gentle, now slam into continents with unthinkable force. Scuti's immense gravity stretches Earth like a rubber band. Mountains crumble under subtle shifts. Continents flex in ways that shake cities to their foundations. Earthquakes erupt with terrifying regularity. Coastal populations flee inland, but nowhere is safe. The oceans are now monsters themselves. Waves taller than skyscrapers, energy enough to carve valleys into coastlines. Humanity watches helplessly as the familiar becomes alien, as the world is rewritten overnight. And then the atmosphere begins to betray us. With the star's radiation amplified by its sheer size, our protective ozone layers start to disintegrate. Ultraviolet radiation pierces the skies, mutating life and scorching unprepared skin. Crops fail. Freshwater becomes toxic as evaporation concentrates minerals in lakes and rivers. Breathing becomes a chore. Oxygen levels fluctuate as atmospheric instability accelerates chemical reactions. The planet hums with danger, and humans can only watch as their survival strategies crumble under the scale of this new cosmic tyranny. Marine life, once adapted to steady sunlight and gentle tides, disintegrates in days. Coral reefs incinerate. Fish fry in the shallow waters. The great whales of the oceans cannot escape the heat. Even plankton, the microscopic lifeline of oxygen, collapses under the constant radiation. Within a week, the oceans are not just boiling, they are dying. Every wave, every current, every drop is a witness to the collapse of a system that took billions of years to evolve. The planet's lungs fail, and humanity feels the first pinch of suffocation. But the horror is only beginning. Orbiting so close to such a colossal star warps time in strange ways. Days stretch into weeks, nights are myth. Gravity bends light and air in subtle but deadly ways. Weather becomes a predator. Tornadoes the size of cities form spontaneously, consuming everything in their path. Lightning, intensified by charged particles in the heated atmosphere, strikes indiscriminately. Humanity's most advanced satellites and communications fail under the star's radiation. The world goes dark, not literally, but technologically, blind and deaf to the chaos unfolding below. Then the oceans start to vanish. Not slowly, not gradually. The heat from a star hundreds of times larger than our sun drives evaporation at a pace no planet has ever known. Freshwater and saltwater alike rise as clouds, but they don't condense. Rain falls like fire, boiling as it touches the ground. Rivers dry before reaching the sea. Ice caps melt and then vaporize. Humanity realizes that drinking water, life itself, is slipping through our fingers faster than we can react. Desperation sets in. Nations attempt to build domes, shields, even underground bunkers. But the scale of destruction is beyond anything ever imagined. And yet, Earth fights back in its own way. The molten core begins to stir. Tectonic plates flex under uneven heating. Volcanic eruptions become planetary-scale events. Lava flows merge with rising waters in impossible patterns. Giant ash clouds blot out what little sky is left. Humanity's cities, once monuments of achievement, are reduced to smoking ruins. Those who survive do so in shelters, tunnels, and abandoned bunkers, waiting, watching, and praying. But the star above never blinks, never rests, never shows mercy. Then comes the real twist. The star itself begins to show instability. Scuti, enormous beyond imagination, pulsates visibly in the sky. Each pulse is like a hammer on the planet, gravitational waves that ripple through Earth's crust, setting off earthquakes, tidal surges, and atmospheric tremors simultaneously. Humanity has never faced a threat that is both too massive to fight and too intimate to escape. Satellites and telescopes detect strange flares, energy surges so intense they could strip the planet of its very atmosphere. Panic is global, yet powerless against the cosmic behemoth, and the skies become alive. Clouds of superheated particles form auroras across the globe, lightning streaking in impossible directions, red and gold, illuminating ruins and ash. Firestorms sweep entire forests in minutes, volcanic eruptions vaporize mountains, rivers of lava carve new valleys. The planet shakes, quakes, and hisses under the heat. Even deep-sea vents boil, spewing toxic gases into the atmosphere, making what little air remains nearly unbreathable. Every natural system hums a warning. Every living creature struggles, and humanity is reduced to a fragile, trembling presence, clinging to survival. And then, for a moment, silence, just long enough for fear to sink in. The oceans are gone. The ice caps, the rivers, the lakes. Nothing remains but steaming, red-hued landscapes. Human structures are buried under ash and sand, yet life persists in fragments. Yet even this silence is deceiving. The star's pulsing intensifies. Energy lashes out across space, and Earth bends beneath it. Mountains shatter under gravitational stress. The crust splits in places no one thought possible. Humanity sees the magnitude of what it faces, not just survival, but the fundamental test of existence itself. And then, the final, unthinkable twist. The planet begins to react in ways that defy conventional science. Earth's magnetic field warps under the stress of the colossal star's radiation. Aurora storms erupt worldwide, illuminating ruins, oceans that briefly reform from condensation, and skies that are no longer blue, no longer familiar. Life, scarred and mutated by heat, radiation, and catastrophe, begins to adapt in terrifying, unexpected ways. Strange bioluminescent forests emerge from scorched lands. Creatures mutate to withstand heat and radiation, moving through the remnants of cities and oceans alike. Humanity is forced into the shadows, learning to survive in a world ruled by a star too immense to comprehend. And just when it seems there is no hope, telescopes detect a faint, structured signal in the star's pulsation, a pattern almost like communication. The energy pulses almost deliberately, as if testing the planet, measuring its ability to endure, to survive, to witness. For those who understand, the signal hints that Earth is no longer just a planet orbiting a star. It is now part of a system being observed, manipulated, and rewritten on a cosmic scale. Survival is no longer enough. Understanding is the only hope. And so, with the oceans gone, the air cracked, the lands torn, and humanity clinging to whatever fragments remain, Earth spins silently under a star that is too big, too bright, too alive to ignore. One final day passes, and those who look up at the sky realize that their home has become a crucible, a forge where life is tested in ways they could never imagine. The Crimson Giant looms over all, relentless, eternal, and watching. So tell me, if the biggest star in the universe decided to orbit your home, could humanity endure? Could life survive the heat, the gravity, the radiation, and the silence that follows? Or would we be another footnote in the cosmic story of impossibly massive stars? Subscribe now and don't miss the next mind-bending journey into the realities you were never meant to imagine.